Your soulmate couldn't stay silent anymore, they talked about you behind your back. Don't scroll, pause right here, because if this message appeared in front of you, it's not an accident, and this message is for you in a way your heart needs this right now, even if your mind is trying to stay guarded. Listen to this carefully. There comes a moment when holding things in becomes heavier than speaking them out loud, and your soulmate reached that moment. They tried silence. They tried distraction. They tried convincing themselves that time would make the feelings fade. But instead of fading, those feelings found another way out. Stay till the end, because this is not about betrayal, it's about pressure releasing in a soul that couldn't pretend anymore. When they talked about you behind your back, it wasn't gossip in the way you fear. It wasn't careless or cruel. It was emotional overflow. It was a heart that didn't know how to speak directly yet, so it spoke indirectly. Your heart needs this reminder right now because silence doesn't always mean indifference. Sometimes silence means someone is struggling with how real something feels. Listen to this moment closely. They spoke your name in rooms you weren't in because you were still very much present in their inner world. They mentioned you when they were asked questions they couldn't answer honestly. They brought you up when conversations turned toward love, timing, or choices. And every time they did, something inside them reacted. Their voice changed. Their energy shifted. The room felt different. Don't scroll away from this truth. When someone truly doesn't care, your name doesn't carry weight. It doesn't linger. It doesn't change the atmosphere. But your name did. This message is for you if you felt an unexplained emotional wave recently, like someone thought about you deeply without reaching out, like a memory resurfaced out of nowhere, like your heart tightened softly instead of painfully. That wasn't random. That was resonance. Angel numbers may have started appearing around the same time, 1111 when you were quiet and reflective, 222 when you questioned whether to trust your intuition, 444 when you tried to ground yourself and feel safe. These are not coincidences. These are confirmations that conversations were happening about you on an energetic level before you ever heard a word. Listen to this carefully. When your soulmate talked about you, it revealed something to them as much as it revealed something to the universe. They realized how unfinished it felt. How saying your name brought up emotions they thought they had already handled. How avoiding you in real life didn't mean you were gone from their heart. Don't scroll, because this matters. The universe sometimes allows people to speak behind our backs not to harm us, but to wake them up. What they said exposed their own truth. And truth doesn't stay hidden forever. Your heart needs this reminder right now because you were never meant to disappear quietly from someone's story. You were meant to be a chapter that changed how they understood love, connection, and themselves. Listen to this moment. They didn't talk about you casually. They talked with hesitation. With pauses. With emotion they didn't plan to reveal. And afterward, they felt it. The weight. The realization. The awareness that silence wasn't protecting them anymore. Stay till the end, because this is where the story deepens. You may have noticed that you're not as reactive as you used to be. You're not chasing clarity. You're not forcing signs. That's because the universe has been stabilizing you while things moved behind the scenes. Your heart needs this right now because alignment often feels like calm before truth surfaces. Don't scroll away from this knowing. When your soulmate spoke about you, something shifted energetically. Words create momentum. Momentum demands resolution. And now that the words exist outside of them, the universe will not allow things to stay undefined forever. Listen to this carefully. This doesn't mean a dramatic confrontation is coming. It means awareness has entered the space. And awareness always leads to movement, whether through conversation, realization, or release. Angel numbers don't appear when nothing is happening. They appear when energy is rearranging itself. This message is for you if you felt like something is approaching, not urgently, not chaotically, but inevitably. That sense isn't anxiety. It's intuition recognizing alignment in motion. Don't scroll, because this next part matters deeply. Whatever was said behind your back will not stay there. Truth doesn't live comfortably in hiding. It asks to be faced. And when it is, you will not feel shocked. You will feel prepared. Grounded. Ready. Your heart needs this reminder right now because the universe doesn't reveal things to hurt you. It reveals them to strengthen you. Stay till the end, because here's the cliffhanger your soul is meant to sit with. What began as whispered words is moving toward clarity. What was once indirect is seeking honesty. And when that moment arrives, you'll recognize it not by fear, but by peace. Don't scroll away from this final truth. You don't need to chase answers. You don't need to confront anything prematurely. Stay centered in who you are becoming. Trust the calm you've built. And if this message resonated, if it felt like it was speaking directly to you, stay connected in this same aligned flow, like, share, and subscribe, because the universe speaks in sequences, and the next message may reveal exactly what those words behind your back are about to turn into. Don't scroll, stay right here with me, because what you're about to hear now goes far deeper than words spoken in passing, and this message is for you in a way your heart needs this right now, even if you're trying to stay calm and tell yourself you don't care anymore. Listen to this carefully. When your soulmate talked about you behind your back, it wasn't a single moment, and it wasn't careless. It was something that had been building quietly inside them for a long time. They reached a point where silence started to feel dishonest, where pretending you didn't matter became harder than admitting, even indirectly, that you still do. Stay till the end, because this isn't about what was said, it's about why it had to be said. Your soulmate didn't wake up one day and decide to speak your name lightly. It happened because your energy kept surfacing in their thoughts when they least expected it. In conversations about the future. In moments when others talked about love, commitment, timing, or missed chances. Your name didn't appear randomly. It surfaced because it carried unresolved truth. And truth has a way of demanding space, even when someone isn't ready to face it directly. Your heart needs this reminder right now because when someone truly moves on, they don't need to talk about you at all. Silence becomes easy. Indifference becomes natural. But that wasn't the case here. Listen to this moment closely. When they spoke about you, they didn't do it with certainty. They did it with hesitation. With mixed emotions. With a tone that revealed more than they intended. And afterward, they felt it. That internal shift. That moment of realizing they had exposed something they were trying to keep contained. Don't scroll away from this truth. Speaking about you forced them to hear themselves out loud. It forced them to confront how unfinished it still feels. This message is for you if you've noticed strange emotional echoes lately, like a sudden heaviness in your chest that passes quickly, like memories surfacing without pain but with clarity, like feeling thought of without being contacted. That isn't coincidence. That's energetic communication. Angel numbers may have started appearing around you more frequently during these moments. 11. 11 when you're quiet and reflective, 222 when you're questioning whether to trust your intuition, 444 when you're grounding yourself and choosing stability over emotional reaction. These are signs that conversations were happening about you not just in the physical world, but in the energetic one. Listen to this carefully. When your soulmate talked about you, it revealed something important to the universe as well. It revealed that the connection hasn't completed its purpose yet. Completion doesn't always mean reunion. Sometimes it means truth finally being acknowledged. Sometimes it means clarity replacing avoidance. Sometimes it means closure arriving without chaos. Don't scroll, because this matters deeply. The universe does not allow significant connections to fade without resolution. It allows silence only until growth is possible. Your soulmate has reached a stage where avoiding the truth costs more than facing it. That's why your name came up. That's why they couldn't keep you compartmentalized anymore. Your heart needs this reminder right now because you were never meant to be erased from someone's emotional history. You were meant to change them. Listen to this moment. After those words were spoken, something shifted inside them. Awareness entered the space. Awareness always demands movement. They began replaying what they said, how they said it, and why it felt heavier than expected. They noticed how others reacted. How the room changed. How the conversation lingered even after it ended. That's not regret. That's realization. Don't scroll away from this knowing. When someone speaks about you behind your back and it carries emotional weight, it's often because they are rehearsing a truth they're not ready to say to your face yet. This message is for you if you felt calmer lately, less reactive, less anxious about outcomes. That calm isn't distance. It's preparation. The universe has been grounding you while things unfold behind the scenes so that when clarity arrives, you receive it without losing yourself. Listen to this carefully. Your soulmate didn't talk about you to diminish you. They talked about you because you occupy a place in their heart that cannot be ignored or replaced. And here is the part your heart needs this right now. You do not need to confront anyone. You do not need to demand explanations. You do not need to chase information. What is meant to surface will surface. Words already spoken cannot be taken back. They create momentum. Momentum leads to truth-seeking expression. Stay till the end, because this is where destiny tightens its thread. The universe uses indirect conversations as catalysts when direct ones are being avoided. It does this not to create drama, but to loosen resistance. And resistance has been loosening. You may sense it as a feeling that something is approaching, not urgently, not chaotically, but inevitably. That sense isn't anxiety. It's intuition recognizing alignment in motion. Angel numbers don't appear when energy is stagnant. They appear when things are shifting beneath the surface. Don't scroll, because this next realization is important. Whatever was said behind your back has already changed the dynamic. It has moved the connection out of silence and into awareness. And awareness does not stay passive for long. Whether this leads to a conversation, an apology, a confession, or a quiet but decisive shift, you will not be caught off guard. You will feel ready, grounded, clear. Your heart needs this reminder right now because growth has already happened within you. You are not the same person you were when silence first appeared. You no longer need answers to feel whole. You no longer measure your worth by someone else's ability to speak up. Listen to this moment carefully. The universe is not asking you to wait anxiously. It's asking you to stay present. To stay rooted in your own truth. To trust that whatever unfolds next will meet you where you are now, not where you were when the lesson began. Don't scroll away from this final knowing. Being talked about behind your back was not meant to hurt you. It was meant to move energy forward. It was meant to expose truth. It was meant to prepare the ground for honesty. And honesty, when it arrives, will not feel like chaos. It will feel like relief. Stay with this energy. Stay open without being vulnerable to self-betrayal. Trust the calm you've built. Because the universe does not reveal what you are not ready to handle, and you are more ready than you think. Don't scroll, stay right here with me, because what you are about to hear now is the layer beneath everything that's already been revealed. And this message is for you in a way your heart needs this right now, even if you feel like you've already made peace with the situation. Listen to this carefully. When your soulmate spoke about you behind your back, it didn't end with that conversation. Words have energy, and once released, they don't simply disappear. They begin to work. They echo. They follow the person who spoke them into quiet moments, into nights when distractions fade, into spaces where honesty becomes unavoidable. Your soulmate didn't just talk about you once. They carried the weight of what they said afterward. They replayed it. They questioned why it came out the way it did. They noticed how their body reacted when your name left their mouth. And in that noticing, something irreversible happened. Awareness took root. Stay till the end, because this is where the universe explains why you may have felt a strange mix of calm and heaviness lately, like something is settling while something else is approaching. Your heart needs this reminder right now because you are not imagining this shift. It's real. Listen to this moment closely. After those words were spoken, your soulmate started seeing you everywhere without you being there. In songs that hit a little too close. In conversations that suddenly reminded them of things they never said to you. In moments of comparison where no one else quite measured up emotionally. And here's the part that matters deeply. They realized that speaking about you didn't make the feelings smaller. It made them louder. Don't scroll away from this truth. Talking about you forced them to confront how unresolved it still is. It exposed the gap between how they act and how they actually feel. This message is for you if you've sensed a sudden emotional awareness, not pain, not longing, but clarity. Like something clicked without drama. Like your nervous system relaxed instead of tightened. That's not detachment. That's preparation. Angel numbers may have continued appearing during moments of emotional stillness, 1111 when you're quietly reflective, 222 when you're choosing balance instead of overthinking, 444 when you're grounding yourself and feeling safe in your own presence. These are not random signs. These are confirmations that truth is moving from suppression into consciousness. Listen to this carefully. Your soulmate is realizing that silence protected them from discomfort, but it also protected them from growth. Speaking about you cracked that protection. It forced them to see how deeply you mattered and how pretending otherwise was costing them more than being honest ever could. Don't scroll, because this matters. They didn't talk about you to paint you in a negative light. They talked about you with emotion they didn't intend to show. With hesitation. With vulnerability. With a tone that revealed attachment rather than distance. And afterward, they felt exposed. Not embarrassed. Exposed to themselves. Your heart needs this reminder right now because when someone talks about you with emotion, it's often because they are standing at the edge of a truth they're afraid to face directly. Listen to this moment. The universe allows these indirect expressions when direct ones are being avoided. Not to create drama, but to loosen resistance. Resistance has been loosening. Your soulmate has been sitting with questions they didn't ask before. Why does your name still affect them? Why does mentioning you feel heavier than mentioning anyone else? Why does silence feel harder now than it did before? These questions don't arise unless something unfinished is demanding resolution. Don't scroll away from this knowing. You may have noticed that you're not emotionally chasing answers anymore. You're not checking signs obsessively. You're not preparing yourself for disappointment. That's because the universe has been stabilizing you while awareness grows on the other side. Your heart needs this right now because stability is what allows truth to arrive without breaking you. Listen to this carefully. When your soulmate talked about you, they didn't just reveal something to others. They revealed something to themselves. They realized that avoiding you emotionally was not the same as being free of you. They realized that moving forward without addressing what happened felt incomplete. And incompleteness has a way of demanding closure. Don't scroll, because this is where destiny tightens its thread. Words spoken behind your back created a ripple. That ripple is moving toward resolution. Resolution does not always mean reunion. Sometimes it means an honest conversation. Sometimes it means accountability. Sometimes it means release that finally feels clean. But whatever form it takes, it will not come out of nowhere. It will feel familiar. Recognizable. Grounded. This message is for you if you've sensed that something is coming, not urgently, not dramatically, but steadily. That sense isn't anxiety. It's intuition recognizing movement. Angel numbers don't appear when energy is stagnant. They appear when cycles are closing intentionally. Your heart needs this reminder right now because you are no longer the person who would be shaken by indirect truth. You've grown. You've integrated lessons. You've learned how to sit with uncertainty without losing yourself. That growth is why the universe trusts you with this awareness now. Listen to this moment carefully. Whatever your soulmate said behind your back has already changed the dynamic permanently. Silence has been broken energetically. And once silence breaks, honesty begins to search for a doorway. You don't need to open that door forcefully. It will open when resistance dissolves completely. Don't scroll away from this final knowing. You were not talked about to be diminished. You were talked about because you mattered too much to stay unspoken. And what matters does not stay hidden forever. Stay present. Stay grounded. Trust the calm you've built. Because the universe does not move truth into the open unless both souls are ready to handle what comes next. Don't scroll, stay right here with me, because what you're about to receive now is the point where hidden truth begins to demand embodiment, and this message is for you in a way your heart needs this right now, even if you feel emotionally steady and think nothing can surprise you anymore. Listen to this carefully. After your soulmate spoke about you behind your back, something inside them refused to settle back into silence. Words don't disappear once spoken, especially when they carry emotional charge. They linger. They replay. They echo in the spaces where someone is alone with themselves. Your soulmate began revisiting that moment over and over, not because they regretted saying your name, but because saying it unlocked something they had been suppressing for a long time. They noticed how speaking about you made the truth feel closer, heavier, more unavoidable. And with that awareness came discomfort, but also relief. Stay till the end, because this is where the universe explains why discomfort often arrives just before honesty. Your heart needs this reminder right now because not all discomfort is a warning. Some discomfort is an invitation to grow. Listen to this moment closely. After those conversations, your soulmate began to see patterns they had ignored. They recognized how often they deflected when asked about you. How they minimized the connection to avoid confronting its depth. How they told half-truths to protect themselves from vulnerability. And now, those half-truths feel fragile. They feel insufficient. Don't scroll away from this truth. Your soulmate is realizing that silence did not mean peace. It meant postponement. And postponement has a cost. The cost is emotional stagnation. The cost is living in between choices instead of making one. This message is for you if you felt a strange calm mixed with clarity recently, like your nervous system is no longer bracing for impact, like you're no longer rehearsing outcomes in your mind. That's because something is shifting without your intervention. Angel numbers may have continued appearing in subtle, grounding ways, 444 when you feel safe in your body, 222 when you choose balance instead of reaction, 1111 when you feel present without needing answers. These are not signs asking you to act. They are confirmations that the universe is handling movement for you. Listen to this carefully. Your soulmate is beginning to understand that talking about you was not betrayal, it was confession disguised as conversation. They didn't plan to reveal as much as they did, but the truth has a way of slipping through cracks when the soul is tired of pretending. And now that the truth has tasted air, it wants more space. Don't scroll, because this matters deeply. They are starting to feel the tension between who they've been and who they are becoming. They are questioning choices that once felt justified. They are re-evaluating emotional shortcuts they relied on to avoid discomfort. And your name sits at the center of those reflections like a quiet mirror. Listen to this moment. When someone speaks about you with emotional weight, they are often preparing themselves to face you directly, even if they don't realize it yet. The universe uses indirect expression as a bridge when direct communication feels too intimidating. Not to create chaos, but to soften resistance. Resistance is softening now. Your heart needs this reminder right now because you were never meant to chase clarity. You were meant to become steady enough to receive it. Don't scroll away from this knowing. You may have noticed that you're not seeking validation the way you used to. You're not asking friends for reassurance. You're not looking for signs in desperation. That's because the universe has been anchoring you. Anchoring you so that when truth arrives, it lands gently instead of shattering you. Listen to this carefully. Your soulmate is becoming aware that avoiding you emotionally has not freed them. It has kept them in a loop. A loop of comparison. A loop of unfinished thoughts. A loop of emotional avoidance that no longer feels sustainable. And sustainability matters now. They don't want temporary relief anymore. They want resolution. Don't scroll, because this is important. Resolution doesn't always look like reunion. Sometimes it looks like honesty spoken out loud. Sometimes it looks like accountability. Sometimes it looks like a clean ending that finally brings peace. But whatever form it takes, it will not come from avoidance anymore. The universe does not allow awakened awareness to be ignored indefinitely. This message is for you if you've sensed a quiet inevitability in the air, like something is moving forward without urgency, like life is aligning instead of spiraling. That sense isn't anxiety. It's intuition recognizing that a cycle is closing properly. Angel numbers appear when cycles are completing with intention, not when things are stuck. Your heart needs this reminder right now because you are no longer operating from fear of loss. You are operating from self-trust. Listen to this moment closely. After talking about you, your soulmate began noticing how others responded. How some sensed the emotion underneath their words. How some went quiet. How some asked follow-up questions they weren't prepared to answer. Those reactions mirrored back to them what they had been avoiding internally. That you matter. That the connection mattered. That pretending otherwise feels dishonest now. Don't scroll away from this truth. Awareness like this creates pressure, but it also creates momentum. And momentum moves things forward whether someone is ready or not. The difference now is that you are ready. You've done the internal work. You've learned how to sit with uncertainty without self-betrayal. You've learned how to remain open without being fragile. That growth is why the universe trusts you with this awareness at this stage. Listen to this carefully. You don't need to confront anything prematurely. You don't need to demand explanations. You don't need to insert yourself into conversations you weren't meant to hear. Truth is already on its way toward the surface. What has been spoken cannot be taken back, and what cannot be taken back must be faced eventually. Don't scroll, because this next realization matters deeply. When honesty finally arrives, it will not feel shocking. It will feel like recognition. Like something you already knew internally finally being spoken externally. You will not feel destabilized. You will feel steady. That's how you'll know you're aligned. Your heart needs this reminder right now because alignment does not feel dramatic. It feels calm. It feels clear. It feels like standing firmly in yourself regardless of outcome. Listen to this moment. Whether your soulmate chooses to speak directly, to apologize, to explain, or to release the connection honestly, you will not be left confused. Confusion belonged to an earlier version of you. This version knows how to listen without losing balance. Don't scroll away from this final knowing. Being talked about behind your back was not meant to wound you. It was meant to move truth out of hiding. And truth, once in motion, always finds the path of least resistance. Right now, that path is clarity. Stay grounded. Stay present. Trust the calm you've built. Because the universe does not bring awareness to the surface unless it is preparing both souls for what comes next, and you are far more ready than you think. Don't scroll, stay right here with me, because what you're stepping into now is the most revealing stage of this entire unfolding, and this message is for you in a way your heart needs this right now, even if you feel emotionally grounded and believe you've already understood what was happening. Listen to this carefully. After your soulmate spoke about you behind your back, the universe did not let that moment pass quietly. It marked a turning point, one where denial could no longer coexist with awareness. Speaking your name out loud changed the internal balance they had been maintaining. What was once contained became active. What was once buried began to rise. They didn't just talk about you, they activated something that could not be undone. And here's what your heart needs this reminder right now. Once awareness wakes up, silence becomes unbearable. Stay till the end, because this is where the truth about their inner world finally becomes clear. Your soulmate has been sitting with the consequences of their own words, not in guilt, but in recognition. Recognition of how deeply you still matter. Recognition of how unfinished it feels. Recognition of how carefully they've been avoiding full honesty with themselves. Every quiet moment now brings reflection. Every pause becomes louder. Every distraction fails faster. Don't scroll away from this truth. They are no longer able to pretend that what they feel is simple or small. Mentioning you didn't make the feelings go away, it sharpened them. It brought clarity to what they were trying not to name. Listen to this moment closely. They began noticing how your presence shows up even when you're not physically there. In how they compare others unconsciously. In how conversations about love feel incomplete without you. In how silence feels heavier now than before. That's not coincidence. That's unresolved emotional truth demanding resolution. This message is for you if you felt a steady calm mixed with a quiet knowing, like you're no longer waiting anxiously but you sense movement. That feeling isn't hope or fear. It's intuition recognizing alignment in motion. Angel numbers may have continued appearing during moments of emotional neutrality rather than distress, 444 when you feel safe in yourself, 222 when you choose balance over reaction, 1111 when you feel present without needing answers. These are confirmations that the universe is holding you steady while pressure builds elsewhere. Listen to this carefully. Your soulmate is realizing that talking about you was the beginning of accountability. Accountability to their own heart. Accountability to the truth they've been delaying. Accountability to the connection they tried to define as less than it was. And accountability is uncomfortable for someone who survived by staying emotionally undefined. Don't scroll, because this matters deeply. They are now standing in the space between who they were and who they are becoming. And that space feels unstable because it demands a choice. Avoidance is no longer neutral. Silence is no longer protective. Something has to give. And here is the part your heart needs this right now. You are no longer meant to carry the weight of that choice emotionally. You did your part. You felt. You healed. You learned how to stand in uncertainty without abandoning yourself. Now the universe is shifting responsibility. Listen to this moment. You may have noticed that you're no longer triggered by the idea of what they might say or do. You're no longer imagining worst-case scenarios. You're no longer bracing yourself emotionally. That's not indifference. That's completion on your side. The universe has been preparing you so that when truth arrives, it lands on solid ground instead of open wounds. Don't scroll away from this knowing. Your soulmate is becoming aware that avoiding you emotionally has not freed them. It has trapped them in repetition. Repeating patterns. Repeating justifications. Repeating half-feelings that never fully satisfy. And repetition becomes exhausting once awareness enters the picture. Listen to this carefully. They are starting to understand that what they feel for you is not something that can be processed privately forever. It requires expression. It requires honesty. It requires a shift in how they show up in their life. That realization feels heavy because it demands courage. And courage is not instant. It builds under pressure. This message is for you if you've sensed a quiet inevitability lately, like something is going to resolve whether anyone tries to control it or not. That sense isn't anxiety. It's intuition recognizing that a cycle is reaching its natural conclusion. Angel numbers appear when cycles are closing with intention, not when things are stagnant. Your heart needs this reminder right now because you are no longer operating from fear of loss. You are operating from self-respect. Listen to this moment closely. After talking about you, your soulmate began noticing how their own words affected others. How the energy in the room shifted. How some people sensed the emotion beneath what was said. How some questions lingered unanswered. Those reactions mirrored back to them what they were avoiding internally. That you matter. That the connection mattered. That pretending otherwise is no longer sustainable. Don't scroll away from this truth. Awareness like this creates internal pressure, but pressure creates movement. And movement brings resolution. Resolution does not always mean reunion. Sometimes it means honesty spoken clearly. Sometimes it means accountability taken fully. Sometimes it means release that finally feels clean instead of unfinished. But whatever form it takes, it will not come from avoidance anymore. The universe does not allow awakened awareness to be ignored indefinitely. Listen to this carefully. You don't need to intervene. You don't need to confront. You don't need to seek validation or explanations. What has been set in motion is already moving toward clarity. Words spoken cannot be retrieved, and once spoken, they demand alignment between inner truth and outer action. Don't scroll, because this next realization matters deeply. When honesty finally reaches you, it will not feel shocking or destabilizing. It will feel familiar. Like something you already knew internally finally being confirmed externally. You will not feel thrown off balance. You will feel grounded. That's how you'll know you've outgrown the version of yourself who would have been shaken by indirect truth. Your heart needs this reminder right now because growth often feels quiet, and quiet can be mistaken for stagnation when in reality it's stability. Listen to this moment. Whether your soulmate chooses to speak directly, to explain, to apologize, or to release the connection honestly, you will not be left confused. Confusion belonged to an earlier chapter. This chapter is about clarity without chaos. Don't scroll away from this final knowing. Being talked about behind your back was not meant to hurt you. It was meant to break silence. It was meant to wake awareness. It was meant to move truth into motion. And truth, once in motion, does not stop halfway. It finds completion. Stay grounded. Stay present. Trust the calm you've built inside yourself. Because the universe does not bring truth to the surface unless both souls are ready to face what comes next, and you are more ready than you realize. Don't scroll, stay right here with me, because what you're entering now is the final pressure point before truth becomes unavoidable, and this message is for you in a way your heart needs this right now even if you feel emotionally strong and believe nothing from the past can affect you anymore. Listen to this carefully. After your soulmate spoke about you behind your back, the universe began tightening the thread around the connection, not to trap anyone, but to force alignment. Silence had already done its work. Distance had already taught its lessons. Now only truth remains. Your soulmate is no longer dealing with vague emotions or undefined feelings. They are dealing with clarity they didn't ask for but can't ignore. Speaking your name unlocked something that refuses to go back to sleep. It exposed a truth they were managing rather than honoring. And once a truth is exposed, it begins to demand action, even if that action is delayed by fear. Stay till the end, because this is where the universe explains why you may feel unusually steady while everything else feels like it's shifting. Your heart needs this reminder right now because steadiness is not disconnection, it's mastery. Your soulmate is experiencing internal conflict, not because they don't know what they feel, but because they do. They are realizing that avoiding you emotionally has not created freedom, it has created tension. Tension between who they pretend to be and who they actually are. They replay the moments they talked about you. They analyze their tone. They remember how it felt to say your name. And each time, they feel the same thing rise in their chest: recognition. Not nostalgia. Not fantasy. Recognition. Don't scroll away from this truth. Recognition is what happens when the soul identifies something real, something unfinished, something meaningful. This message is for you if you've noticed that you're no longer emotionally invested in guessing what they'll do next. You're no longer rehearsing conversations. You're no longer bracing yourself for disappointment. That's because the universe has shifted the emotional weight off your shoulders and placed it where it belongs. Listen to this moment closely. Your soulmate is now sitting with consequences. Not punishment, consequences. The consequence of speaking truth indirectly is that direct truth starts knocking. They are noticing how silence feels dishonest now. How pretending neutrality feels heavy. How distraction fails faster than it used to. They are becoming aware that their emotional avoidance is no longer sustainable. And sustainability is the new requirement. Angel numbers may have continued appearing around you during moments of grounding rather than longing. 444 when you feel safe in your body, 222 when you choose balance instead of reaction, 1111 when you feel present without needing answers. These are confirmations that you are stable enough to witness truth without being destabilized by it. This message is for you if you feel like you've reached a place where you're okay no matter what happens next. That doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care without attachment to outcome. Don't scroll, because this matters deeply. Your soulmate is realizing that talking about you wasn't accidental. It was the soul testing honesty. And now that honesty has tasted air, it wants embodiment. They are questioning their choices, their patterns, their emotional habits. They are asking themselves why your presence still holds weight when they try to move forward. They are noticing how others don't evoke the same depth, the same reflection, the same emotional resonance. And that comparison isn't intentional. It's automatic. Listen to this carefully. When someone talks about you with emotion behind your back, it's often because they are trying to understand their own feelings without admitting them directly. But understanding leads to responsibility. Responsibility leads to decision. And decision leads to movement. Don't scroll away from this knowing. You may feel like something is aligning without effort, like life is simplifying instead of complicating. That's because the universe has cleared your side of the equation. You've done the internal work. You've learned how to sit with uncertainty without losing yourself. You've learned how to remain open without self-betrayal. That growth is why you are calm now. Your soulmate, however, is not calm yet. They are processing. They are integrating. They are being confronted by the truth they tried to delay. Listen to this moment. They are realizing that whatever they feel for you cannot stay unspoken forever. It requires acknowledgement. It requires honesty. It requires either alignment or release. Half measures are no longer an option. Don't scroll, because this next realization is crucial. Resolution is forming. Resolution does not always mean reunion. Sometimes it means truth spoken clearly. Sometimes it means accountability taken fully. Sometimes it means closure that finally feels complete. But whatever form it takes, it will not come with confusion. Confusion belonged to the version of you who hadn't yet learned self-trust. You have. Your heart needs this reminder right now because you are no longer waiting to be chosen. You are choosing peace, clarity, and alignment. Listen to this carefully. After speaking about you, your soulmate began to notice how the world responded. How conversations lingered. How questions followed. How their own emotions surfaced in ways they couldn't suppress. Those reactions mirrored back to them what they had been avoiding internally. That the connection mattered. That you mattered. That pretending otherwise is no longer possible. Don't scroll away from this truth. Awareness like this creates pressure, but pressure creates movement. And movement brings truth to the surface. You don't need to force that movement. It's already happening. Angel numbers do not appear when things are stagnant. They appear when cycles are closing intentionally. This message is for you if you've sensed a quiet inevitability, like something is going to resolve whether anyone resists it or not. That sense isn't anxiety. It's intuition recognizing completion approaching. Listen to this moment closely. Whatever your soulmate chooses next will not be hidden. Silence has already been broken energetically. Words spoken cannot be retrieved, only integrated. And integration demands alignment between inner truth and outer behavior. Don't scroll, because this is where the universe shifts focus back to you. You are no longer responsible for carrying unanswered questions. You are no longer responsible for waiting in uncertainty. You are no longer responsible for making sense of someone else's avoidance. That responsibility has shifted. Stay till the end, because this is the final truth. Your heart needs this right now. When honesty finally arrives, whether through conversation, apology, explanation, or release, you will not feel shocked. You will feel steady. You will feel clear. You will feel like something you already knew internally has been confirmed externally. That is alignment. That is growth. That is completion. Don't scroll away from this final knowing. Being talked about behind your back was not meant to hurt you. It was meant to move truth out of hiding. It was meant to activate awareness. It was meant to bring this cycle to its natural conclusion. And whatever comes next will meet you where you are now, grounded, aware, and whole. Trust the calm you've built. Trust the wisdom you've earned. Because the universe does not bring truth to the surface unless both souls are ready to face what comes next, and you are more than ready.